Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Scotland's new Chief Constable has been warned to distance herself from the SNP and to keep out of politics. I fear it is already far too late. She hasn't even taken up the job yet, but the very fact that she's got it suggests there's already deals done. They will have approached her a long time ago, keyed her up and said, no, we'll push you through for this job, But, it's one hand washing the other. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Possibly even little brown envelopes with pictures of the Queen. But we'll take a look at this to see what is going on, who she is, and why she's been told to keep her distance. And of course, that's very sound advice. But as I say, it's possibly already far too late. Here goes. So, new police chief warned of SNP interference as she's told to keep the Nats at arm's length. I would suggest you keep the Nats' arms behind their back in the old derbies, Anyway, Joe Farrell will take over as the Chief Constable of Police Scotland, but has been warned the force is seen as too close to the nationalist government. Undoubtedly, this whole investigation seems to have been done to ensure that the likes of Nicola Sturgeon gets off. There's no way an investigation is done that badly unless it's deliberate. As well as the 2-week wait between application for a search warrant and it's being allowed. And strange that the person who would ultimately sign that off is a member of the SNP cabinet. Oh dear, I'm sure that there's no connection at all, especially when it happened right in the middle of the election for which the SNP hierarchy were trying to get their man in. Odd, isn't it? Just to say the least. Anyway, Scotland's new top cop has been warned to stop the SNP from interfering in police matters as she takes up the role. And if she does that, she won't be a top cop for long. They will do their best to get her out. It was confirmed on Wednesday that Joe Farrell would take over from Sir Ian Livingstone as Chief Constable of Police Scotland. Currently in charge of Durham Constabulary, she was appointed by the Scottish Police Authority, although Justice Secretary Angela Constance had to approve the decision. So it's already a political matter because the SNP's Justice Secretary has to sign off on it. No independent policing in Scotland. Oh no, you have to be the right person, as decided by the SNP. She is no stranger to trying to navigate politics, having led the Durham force when Dominic Cummings was being investigated for travelling to the region while experiencing COVID-19 symptoms. Miss Farrell has now been warned she could face similar political issues in Scotland. I do hope she hasn't been got at. I do hope she rises above it and is willing to treat these politicians the same as anyone else. The typical way the police treat most people. Scum. But not just the SNP, all politicians. Don't let any party let them get away with anything. Doesn't matter if you're an MP, you obey the same laws. Anyway, she's been advised to rise above it. Moe Ali, who was on the board of the SPA from 2013 until 2017, said anyone taking on the role would need to be politically savvy. Well, there's no one in the SNP that's politically savvy. There's very few of them that've got any kind of political nous at all. So you'd think it would be quite easy for someone who's not there to sort of rise above it. But of course, it isn't a case just of political savvy. There's often, bribery, corruption. We'll do something for you if you do something for us, that kind of thing that's gone on. Now, I'm not saying that's the case with Ian Livingstone, but I'm suggesting that it's highly suspect with Ian Livingstone. Speaking to BBC Scotland's Good Morning Scotland show, she said the environment within Scotland, the policing environment, is very, very different because we have a Scottish government, whichever political persuasion that is. So a Scottish government that is quite close to policing, some would argue far too close to policing, and I think she will need to put a political savvy hat on very, very quickly and get to grips with the Scottish dynamic. One of the problems, and this is something that's come up many times, and regular viewers who comment as well have pushed this out. One of the problems with Scotland is Police Scotland. You have one force, where previously you had many, many more. I believe it needs to be broken up. I do believe that you need more regional policemen. You need to get senior officers closer to the streets, closer to the junior officers. There needs to be a much more numerous hierarchy. And you need to have a selection of chief constables so that if you're going to do something, it's a lot more difficult to corrupt or bribe, say 8 chief constables than it is just to control one through whichever means you have at your disposal. I'm not saying anything about Ian Livingstone, I hasten to add. It just seems very suspect. Anyway, get back to her there. She's worked in the political arena and I'm sure she knows how to conduct herself, but she has to hold that line and keep politics out of policing. Nationalists have been at odds with Police Scotland this week over the arrest of Miss Sturgeon, who was released without charge but not cleared. Important to note. It culminated in the firebrand SNP MSP James Dornan, an obnoxious little shit who hates everything, claiming that the force was in collusion with the media, something it had vehemently denied. He wasn't overly bothered about them investigating Rangers, I noticed. Very quiet on that front, wasn't it? He's a big Celtic supporter, and I noticed as well, when questioned the other day, he was amazingly silent when it comes out about the grooming ring and worse for 30 odd years at the Celtics training ground where young lads were coming in. And young lads weren't going out as young lads. They were, coming in boys and going out men, let's put it that way, for 30 odd years. And he was amazingly silent about that. Anyway, the Scottish Police Federation is calling on her to support frontline police officers and to recognise the impact of low pay on the service. And the group says officers' pay has fallen behind other public sector bodies since 2006 when the previous pay mechanism was withdrawn. Well, if you started doing your jobs, that would help. If you could go in there and say, arrest all 3 suspects at once, keep them in separate rooms, question them at the same time, that might help. If you didn't wait 2 weeks between applying for a warrant and actually executing it, that might help. You want pay rises? Start doing your jobs. Anyway, General Secretary of SPF said, this is David Kennedy, said, it's an ideal moment to begin a new chapter where every serving police officer in Scotland is supported and valued. Up until now, that's not been the case because the loyalties have lied elsewhere, mainly within the SNP, I suspect. And there we are. So we've got this new police chief constable coming in. There she is. She's got to be neutral. She's got to be politically neutral. But the very fact that she had to be signed in by someone within the SNP government day one makes that somewhat questionable. So how far can you trust her? How far can you trust anyone? It's very tough, isn't it? We know the last one is definitely 100%, no question asked. Honest man, never ever a question. Honest gov. But this one, we don't know yet. We don't know. Be interesting to see what happens over the next few months, really. Once Livingstone's gone and if the case is still going, see how she deals with it. That'll be our first test. But then it is by these difficult tests that you are judged. I shall come up. I don't think many people generally trust the police. I do far too many videos on the things that the police do for me to ever trust them. But when they come out and they say, oh, well, no, we were this, we did have this problem, we've changed now. Does that even fool anyone anymore? We know the police are political. The police have always been political. But for some reason in Scotland, it's worse than it is anywhere else. It's almost as though it's a private police force in Scotland. It's the Stasi. It's the only explanation as to why this investigation is so inept that it is likely to end up with no one being, prosecuted. And now we have this woman coming in, Jo Farrell, who, is supposed to be the new broom sweeping clean. Well, the trouble is, it's not a new broom. It's the broom that's been handed to her. It's filthy. And she's getting dirt on her hands from day one. And nobody is going to believe that she's not politically motivated by the SNP, especially as she's signed off by Constance. Angela Constance had to sign her in. It's a joke, isn't it? Anyway, let's hope. Let's hope that she at least gives the illusion of being non-political, and let's hope, of course, that she goes in hard and fast and investigates not just this fraud or potential fraud, but all the other things I want to see you investigate the Jordan Linden thing, and that needs to go all the way to the top, because there's a lot more to come out there, believe you me. Anyway, I shall round off there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. And do please, if you're one of the few who haven't yet subscribed, do subscribe. We're getting very close to the target. It would be absolutely brilliant if we can get there for the end of June. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay well away from police, because I still don't trust her. This one is no different from the last. And goodbye.